Hello, hello. Good to see you, Ro. How's everything going for you? Let's see now. What am I looking for? Just finishing up some last-minute tech things, and then I will be good to go. Let's see. Is that it? That's it for now. Huh. All right. Oh, let's see. Oof. Forgot to brush out my braid before I did stream. Hello, Neural. Reading time? Reading time. With a little bit of chatting beforehand. How's your evening going so far? Is it evening, morning, noontime? Let's see. Put that there. Do this. It's evening, it's going decent. Good to hear. I think it's... Oh, I just realized it's nearly 20:30 here, and there's still some light outside. Making some pizza? Oh, that sounds lovely. Me, had an afternoon meal, took a nap that my body demanded, and then here I am. It's got tuna. Tuna? That's not something you hear very often. Think Japan's probably about the only place I hear about tuna. Tuna and Kewpie mayo, I think, is one of the more common ones in Japan. A fat nap? Unfortunately not. It was a little sparse, honestly. I think I really only got 20 minutes of sleep. Fell asleep about 10 minutes in, slept for about 20 minutes, and then woke up, had to go pee, and then just couldn't get back to sleep for 30 minutes. Yeah, that's that. Well. I don't feel absolutely horrid in terms of stamina, so I will call that a win. When I nap, it's at least 3 hours. Yeah, usually it's, well, for me, it's a coin toss, honestly. It's either I sleep the whole day, 6 hours, nice solid nap, or fairly short. Honestly, I could do with a few more, with like 30-minute naps a little more often. But just because they're easier to fit into the day, they seem to be more refreshing. But just not something that I've had the luck to be able to do for basically as long as I've been trying to take naps. I guess the only time I really was able to take short naps was when work and home were, you know, a whole 150 meters away from each other. And so I would just come home for lunch make a quick lunch, eat it, and then nap for 15 to 30 minutes, and then saunter back. Ah, yeah, it's a shame. You need a coffin. Well, I hope the coffin's comfy. And has a little hole so I can put my arm way out sideways. Because sometimes I want to lay like that. Oh, I need a stretch though. God. Oh. My left shoulder has been rather stiff the last at least few days, and I don't know why. And it might be that I've taken to resting on my left arm, like having my hand on my chin and resting on my left arm, my left elbow. I don't think I'm putting that much weight on it. Otherwise, I haven't really done anything people would consider strenuous over the last however long, so... Good, Nightbot is doing its job. Let me do 3 minutes of ads real quick to turn off the pre-rolls, and then we can chat some more. Oh yeah, I was... Like a few nights ago, I was sitting in bed, just kind of, meandering my way through various books from the Elder Scrolls. And I think I only found one or two that I really wanted to read. Valves. Valves. You can't be so rough tonight, okay? I don't have my robe on. You're going to hurt me. Sorry about that. That was Balthazar, one of my cats. Very much likes to be in my lap, but especially this summer month, it's really hard for him to be. He's just so big. And when he starts even make muffins just even a little bit, kneading, it his big old claws start puncturing things. Benini, hello, welcome. It's good to see you. How's your evening going so far? Right now we are on Twitch ads, and then maybe a bit more chatting, and then we were going to get into books. Just waiting for people to slowly trickle in. I do need to get... There we go, that's a little more direct to my voice. I need to get a compressor on my music. Because I know sometimes it's too loud, sometimes you just can't hear it. Good, I've been pretty sleepy all day. I give my puppy a bath, so he's got the zoomies. Really? Zoomies after a bath? I mean, I suppose I'm just used to cats. Well, where they'll go off into a corner somewhere and make sure that they are as clean as they would like to be. Which is to say, not wet, not moist, and with their hair fairly aligned, if it can be helped any. Oh, why is my neck so stiff? Oh, I need to get girl juice in me sometime today. Might be after stream. He always runs around after a bath, shakes everywhere, and just pounces on everything. Huh. That's great. How did you sleep on it wrong? Good question. It might have been sleep, it might have been the nap, it might just be just general things. At this point, I'm not quite sure what my body is trying to tell me. Also, my right knee was being rather cantankerous last night into today. To the point where, well, I mean, that's a little easier to figure out. Do we have the same girl juice schedule? Maybe. Mine shifts around a little bit. Mostly it extends to 7.x days, but it really depends. Take it once every 6 days. You know, I've actually been thinking about talking to my doctor about that because I feel really bad on day 6, day 7. And I know subcutaneous tends to disperse slower from what she told me, but yeah, it may do me some good to just do it on a 5 or 6 day schedule. So I know I've heard of 5-day schedules. Week and 2 weeks being other fairly standard units, but yeah, 5 or 6. Maybe every 6th day. Evening, Raven. Good to see you. Welcome, welcome. Do I have... Okay, good. How's your evening going so far, Raven? Kitty ears. Oh, already. Well, I suppose I'm going to spend this stream with kitty ears. Or perhaps a good bit of it. Hi, Bokudoku. Oh, it was you redeeming the kitty ears. Ah, I see, I see. This is a rather more balanced look, isn't it? I would much rather, have my horns showing, but eventually. Okay, good. Well, let's scooch me just a smidge down. There we go. There we go. There we go. I have a little bit of headroom. Yep, follow your body, doing it every 5 days, but noticed I got good response and growth in my chest on 6 days, so I just switched to every 6. Interesting. Noted. Every 5 to 6. Yeah. I'm barely overdue for a test, unfortunately. Where's your purr, Redeem? I can't purr very well. I suppose some people would call certain types of human vocalization purrs that aren't quite cat purrs, structurally speaking, but... I think when humans purr, or try to mimic a purr, it's very much the tongue flutter. Which sounds like a purr, but it's not the very chest and throat induced purr of cats. How have you been, by the way, Bokudoku? Feels like it's been a few streams since I saw you last. Granted, I've seen you elsewhere. Nini, I'll get your levels tested in Tweaky. You really can just build your own regime. Yeah. I think I'm sitting fairly high, numbers-wise, so I'm not too worried about, like, I've had a friend or two be basically in permanent menopause, which... I think they have that fixed now, but... Luna, welcome, welcome. Oh, struggling to sleep? Well, I think you're in the right spot then. We'll be chatting for just a little while longer, but after that we'll be getting into various books. I have quite a few lined up tonight, surprisingly. Subgo? Huh? Oh! Thank you for... Is it a Twitch... Yes, it's a Twitch Prime. Thank you for the Prime sub, Luna. Thank you, thank you. My interface told me, hey, you're 25% of the way to the sub goal. And then about 6 to 7 seconds later said, by the way, Luna has subbed. Yeah. And I have little sub badges now. A little heart that slowly fills up over time. Bokudoku, hanging out with my wife, doing school stuff? Ah, wait a minute, what were you studying again? It's quite cute. I'm glad you like it. Go books, gotta love books, and doing well, my lady. Plenty of books tonight. How about myself? So? Right, cybersecurity. So I have asked about it before. I suppose that's one of those fields that the more you learn, the more exasperated you become with the general level of knowledge of your field. In a world where it's very, very necessary to at least have at least a tiny bit of understanding, right? I think a lot of us that grew up on the internet since like the dial-up days, or at least the tail end of the dial-up days, so like at least millennials, have some idea, just because we were very much molded by it. There's definitely new things nowadays. And people that it honestly feels like both generations that didn't grow up with the internet or were fully formed before the internet came about, as well as people that just have been born since widespread internet access has been available. Sometimes what's it even called? Literacy, there we go. Literacy and comfort with internet security is often a little lacking. Book, I had a nightmare last night that my PC had a virus. Oh. Specialist nightmares. I think this is the first stream I'm visiting with this username. It may recognize me as Sugar. I kind of figured. Wasn't going to say anything, but did tell me that was a 5-month resubscribe, and you're one of the few people that uses a Prime sub, so. Raven, sorry to hear that, lady. I hope the rest of the night goes well for you. Well, it's going well so far, thanks to all of you. If you're on the YouTube side, by the way, click the little likey button. And also, tell your friends, share it around. Let's see. Lady Bun is here. Bunny. Yep. Banini's here. I have a few people around. I'm just doing a last-minute check of the various books that I have for tonight. There's a little bit of Queen Baronzaya, who has been mentioned now and again. I know in A Short Life of Uriel Septim the Seventh, she is mentioned, I believe. Yeah, she's definitely mentioned. Speaking of which, I need to get LibreOffice open so that I'm not staring it at really light text. Let's see. I just got electric power an hour ago. I couldn't write all day long. Right, that's... Oh. Do you spend most of your day writing? Or is it sort of an off and on thing throughout the day? Let's see, templates. Where are my templates? There we go. the reason I have to have a template is because I have a specific font and a specific size, and then I have a fairly muted, that's a dark teal, evidently, that I use for the texts, and it shows up well while not being super harsh on the eyes. Like a black background white text is at first glance it looks good. Until eventually the white starts sort of burning into the retinas a little bit. I don't think it's truly burning in, but it feels like it. And then as your vision shifts a little bit, it blurs, it smears. And it's whoa. Lunas, Prime subs are much cheaper in Poland. It's about $12 yearly. Wow. Holy cow. That's really awesome. I'm glad it's at least adjusted to the currency and the cost of living. And also that means that because Prime subs give me $2 and like 30 something cents, I think. So you're actually getting more out of that than just directly sending me money. Yeah, you earn more from a sub than I pay. Yeah, it's oh. Benini, I'm sorry. Something about getting spontaneous cataracts. I don't. Well, sort of, kind of. It feels like it. It feels like a night. If you stare at the sun, you'll get that spot in your vision. It's kind of like that. More staring at bright lights in the evening when the sun isn't out. And then you get some of that left in your vision a little bit, and then as you move it smears. But it's much it feels like it's, I suppose I can't say it takes longer to get out of the vision, because often when this happens for me, I'm staring at a screen, right, for however long. So new smear is getting introduced into my vision as I read. But with the dark teal, it doesn't do that quite as much. Well, I mean, I've probably explained this before, but green and I believe pink are two colors that show up really well in our vision. And so even if it's a fairly dark version of those colors, it's still fairly easy to read and make out. Oh, Ripgore. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for the sub. Thank you, thank you. 3 months in advance. I really appreciate it. Welcome to the Succubard's library. Hope you find it one. Oh, wait a minute. Oh. I hope you like it here. I hope you enjoy it here. Hope you get plenty of sleep and or Elder Scrolls lore. Either or perhaps both. Sleep is generally how I get a lot of my Elder Scrolls lore too. Because it turns out a lot of the people that talk about Elder Scrolls lore have fairly comforting voices. Yay! All the spinning bunnies. All the spinning bunnies backlit by the fire. All right, let's see. Shall we get into actually reading? Oh, and a follow. Thank you for the follow. Thank you. Let's see. What shall we read first? I suppose So there's a fairly short book called The Argonian Maid, an Oral Tradition, which we've read before, but I was curious to read it again tonight, because I don't remember how long it's been since we've last read it. I know I've read The Lusty Argonian Maid. Was it The Lusty Argonian Maid, or was it it was the Sultry Argonian Bard, wasn't it, Benini? Recently I was on Benini's stream Sunday? So the 3 days ago, was it? Already? And she was playing the remastered Oblivion. And I was just there as a not as a guide, as a little lore Succubard. Just sitting there, you know, just with my book of who knows what in front of me. Just chiming in every once in a while. Oh, yeah, did you know? Oh, do you remember that book? Crazy, it's called an oral tradition. An oral tradition. I mean, I suppose it... I know what the thing is, Amazon's spending a lot of money in Poland too, because Amazon isn't exactly popular in Poland, which is why the service is much cheaper. Interesting. Yeah, do be careful to support your local stores as well, because that's generally the long-term strategy of huge stores, is just to make the little stores go bankrupt. And then raise the prices. Allegro? What is Allegro? Is it another online shop / shipping service sort of thing? Yeah, I refuse to support Amazon, frankly. The only reason why I pay for Prime is the fact that it costs them. Ah, that's fair. That's fair. Benini and Lars Succubard that was reading smut casually on the side. You can't prove it. So much fun. Best way to play Elder Scrolls. Oh, thank you. It's a lot of fun for me, too. It's not just getting to experience Oblivion for the first time, but also, like, learning the mechanics, because I know a good bit of the lore, but the mechanics are completely new to me. I know what the lockpicking looked like, but not how it actually functioned. Honestly, I respect not buying everything off of Amazon. Yeah. Although it is nice that they exist as a service, just because, like, being disabled, I don't know if I could have survived without some sort of fairly accessible, fairly cheap service like that. So yeah. It's one of those things where, like, overall it's a fairly negative, but there are some bright points. Let's see. We'll read The Argonian Maid, an Oral Tradition, and then... Oh, I already have an Argonian Maid document. Let's see. Ah, here it is. Benini, Oblivion's lockpicking's much more fun than Skyrim's. I've got a feel for it. Yeah, Skyrim's lockpicking is just so... I don't know. It's just blah. Luna, yeah, Allegro's pretty much Polish Amazon. There's the button for it. I was looking around going, what am I looking for? What am I looking for? I know it's in my Twitch user interface. I know it's somewhere over there. I need to change categories. There we go. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, that's not right. There we go. With proper capital letters. Yeah, there we go. Done. Panini, it's worth the use of service if you need it or if it's the cheapest thing. Pay for what you can within your means. Impossible to avoid supporting big businesses unless you're super wealthy. Yeah, that is the problem, isn't it? Also, getting to local businesses is the other. In Japan, I was just, able to saunter down to the local supermarket. Or not even supermarket sometimes, just local market or the, local restaurant or, the local, local barber or just local things. Walk 15-20 minutes, Doctor, dermatologist, dentist. Just everything was within, gosh, I think 15 to 20 minutes of walking got me to pretty much anywhere I needed to go to on a, for daily living. Aside from work, of course. Oh my, walkable city in my America? No thanks, I like my pickup truck. Where I am, where I currently am, it's definitely not walkable. But just a little ways away, where my friend lives, is very, very walkable. And it's nice, just being able to go to a grocery store within a few minutes. A local tailor within 5, or a local bakery within 7, right? I'm jealous, envious. Oh, somebody let my hair down. Well, thank you for the redeem, Luna. Glad you like the hair down. All right. Oh, I'm sorry about that. Let me pour myself a little bit of tea, and then we can get going on the books. I'm really glad I have a thermos, because this tea is from 5 hours ago at least, if not 6. It's still fairly warm. I don't think it'll burn me, but ironically, the weakest point of the least insulated part of the thermos is actually the lid. It's plastic and rubber instead of I think probably the vacuum insulated metal of the body. Axis Tempest, welcome, welcome. Recently, they finally made the train station in my home city to take the tea to Boston no more that awful drive. I'm glad to hear. Are you able to actually take advantage of it? Or are you living elsewhere now? Whew. That's just, barely under the will burn me level. Although if I keep my hand on the mug, it will most definitely burn me. All right. Today is May 6th. Dear. This is the Argonian-made an Oro tradition by Tellinger the Artificer. Recently, I attended a stage production called The Lusty Argonian Maid. Bawdy, delightful, filled with innuendo. I am surprised it was never presented in this form before. According to my research, Lusty Argonian Maid has its origins in a long line of tales told by traveling bards, each with a slightly different tale and premise, but the same end result. A female innocent succumbs to the charms of a dominant married male character. In the South, the tale was occasionally presented as the Lusty Bosmeri and 2 Moons for Sugar. I've also heard Shornhelm's Lusty Orifice, the Sandy Spear of Alakir, and the Maiden's Tight Hold in taverns across the north and northwest. In this stage play, each of the character archetypes is brought to life before the audience. Unless the acting is superb, the subject matter can come off flat and uninspired. Also, a play takes away from the verbal dexterity exhibited by a bard such as the legendary Khajiit Tale Singer. The feline bard described the various ploys used by the man to bring the maiden to her knees in a way that made one's pulse race and breath quicken, wondering what would come next. Indeed, much of the Argonian Maid borrows heavily from Tale Singer's songs, uncredited, but naturally I recognize them immediately, in which the maiden helps the male with a spear, a loaf of bread, and a spilt flask of coconut milk. Fortunately, the players in the current production of The Lusty Argonian Maid are excellent, bringing this age-old tale to new heights. The reference to Spear of the Hunter would bring laughter to the most sullen, and the Wheel of Cheese. Wow. I've never seen this variant before, but it was truly inspired. I foresee this play will outlive its humble beginnings as a fireside amusement to become a choice bit of frivolous entertainment for generations to come. And that was The Argonian Maid, an oral tradition. Vanini? Oh, it was a stage play. Damn, alright. Oh, there's the coconut milk. Yeah, I'm still not quite sure how the coconut milk works. I can see how it can be euphemistic, but euphemism alone doesn't make it work in The Lusty Argonian Maid. Because the spear, the loaf of bread, right? They all have their ways of using the innuendo to imply action, a thing as well as an action, right? Or multiple actions. The coconut milk. Did it say spilled coconut milk? Let's see now. A spilt flask of coconut milk. Unfortunately, it seems I'm too unimaginative to figure out how that actually plays into that act, wherever it is. My favorite name was the Maiden's Grip, or whatever it was. That would be the Maiden's Tight Hold. Shornhelm's lusty orifice is just... It's not even euphemistic. Wait, can I say on stream what the coconut is? Oh. Oh. I see now. Let's leave that to the imagination, shall we? Although I think you did a perfect job in leading the imagination to where it needed to get to. Now, let's see. Oh, watch that bunny spin. I wonder if I can actually change the speed at which they spin, or at least bring the maximum speed down. I know sometimes they get stuck between my ears. 2 moons for sugar. Oh, I get it now. So many emotes, and they're so cute. For anybody that doesn't know, was it the light bunnies or was it the dark bunnies that share the artist with most of my emotes? The dark bunnies? Oh. Oh. Nobody's redeemed the stretch yet, and yet here I am, stretching and properly taking care of myself. Vivi! Hello, hello! Welcome, welcome! Thank you for the raid. Wait, 2 raids? Well, welcome, welcome, everyone. Thank you for the raid, Vivi. Thank you for the raid, Carla Jim Blaze. Wait, more raids? Wait, what? What is going on? Wait, four raids in about 20 seconds. Oh, wait, is that enough? What? Wait, is that 4 raids or 5? I think that's 5. Hello, Hazel. Hello, Tonic. Thank you for the raids. Thank you, thank you. Welcome, welcome. My name's Octavia Con Amore. I'm a succubard, a succubus bard. It turns out that there are less strenuous ways to get people's energy. So now I read. This is my little library. Hopefully it's nice and cozy for you. Shanna, you've been blessed by ferret followers and friends. Thank you, thank you. Hazel. Oh my, thank you for the follows, Shanna Will, subject Bulbasaur. And Kylie J. Blaze. Welcome, welcome. Wild timing, what in the hells? Yeah, absolutely. It's fairly rare that I get a raid to begin with, and then 4 in the 20 seconds, 30 seconds. I might have brought the raids over here. That's why. So, my current special interest, shall we say, is Elder Scrolls books. And so, I sit here and gently read various books. We actually just read The Argonian Maid, an oral tradition, which was an analysis of the historical origins of the Argonian Maid, the lusty Argonian Maid, you may know it as, and where it came from, what sort of other names similar stories have had. There was the lusty Boss Mary, and 2 moons for sugar, and the maiden's tight hold. to name but a few. Your first raid, really, Tonic? Welcome, welcome. Let me slowly shout you out. I think there's like a 10-minute cooldown on it on my side. So, let me just shout out, everyone in the order that they came in. Oops, there. Typo? Is that right? There we go. And then as the cooldown comes off, I'll keep on shouting people out. It was your debut stream. That's wonderful. How was it? Were you co-streaming with Hazel and Carla? What were you three playing? Luna, so many mentions of sugar that I keep thinking you're talking about me. Suppose it is rare to mention sugar in the Elder Scrolls books, isn't it? Plenty of timing tonight. Let's see. I already follow Hazel, but please follow the other two. Thank you, of course. Oh, Elite Dangerous. I think I've definitely seen Hazel play Elite Dangerous before. So I might have already maybe seen you and heard your voice. And we were already friends? Lamp? Welcome. Thanks for the first time chat. Wait, is that another? That's another raid. Oh no. Pigeon, welcome. So we've just had 5 raids in what has it been, 2-3 minutes? So I have a shout out backlog. I've been a little bit of a naughty streamer and not actually properly set up a bot to be able to just spam out shout outs. But Pigeon is someone that I've known for a while now. I think she consistently streams. Although, what have you been up to recently? I haven't really had the time to poke my head into your streams. Tonic, I'm gonna go reset and stuff still. Hope your stream goes well. Thank you. Totally understand. Post-stream cooldown is really, really important. Grab yourself a drink, maybe something comfy, maybe some stretches, sips, munches. FF8. Today was a hell of grinding for endgame stuff. FF8. I think I know the characters, but it feels like I really don't know the actual story at all. Gonna head off and lie down, brain is goo? Okay. Thank you all for trusting me with your communities. I'll be sure to not be too naughty and just put them to sleep. Or teach them about Elder Scrolls. I might teach them about the Elder Scrolls. Speaking of, I think there is a... Oh, where is... An accounting of the Elder Scrolls? There it is. Go nuts with the lot of them, Octavia? Will do. Asymmetrical? Hello. Oh wow, I haven't been on one of your streams since you started the VTubing thing. Looks good? Thank you. And unfortunately, they aren't music streams anymore like they used to be, but settled into, oh dear, help. Raiders. You're welcome. This is all a little much. When I say I can take them all on at the same time, I mean like, 5 individuals, not 5 whole raids. No, I'm sorry. 6 whole raids. What is going on? Hi, Specs. Welcome, welcome. Hi, everyone. So for anybody that's from Pigeon's raid or from Specs' raid, sorry, give me just a second to sip and stop laughing. You know, as a succubard, both as a succubus and as a bard, you would think I would be used to attention by now. But here, let me put my hair up, get myself all proper and presentable. Oh, welcome, welcome. So, my name is Octavia con Amore. I'm the succubard that takes care of this little, dare I call it a library? Generally, we read Elder Scrolls books, talk about Elder Scrolls lore. Sometimes we'll read other things too. I've had requests for things now and again. Hazel, I'm gonna go look. Octavia, have to do some post-stream stuff. Okay. I'm glad you're taking care of yourself. I hope you have a good cooldown. And also, Carla and Specs, I totally understand if you have to raid and run and properly take care of yourself. And also, Graceheim, thank you for the follow. Okay, I suppose we'll do less laughing and more reading, hopefully. And if you'd like to hear me read any of the individual stories, I have the YouTube channel that I maintain has individual stories as well as the playlists that just have them in their entirety for falling asleep to if you'd like. And I'm working on getting them, getting just audio files created as well for people that prefer local files as opposed to streaming. Truly an unusual Tuesday. Is it Tuesday? I thought it was a Wednesday. I mean, this is a really Tuesday. It's Monday, baby. Oh. So, since I promised to be slightly naughty and teach everyone here about the Elder Scrolls themselves, maybe we'll do that, and as well as maybe one of the slightly saucier books as well. We could always do The Thief of Virtue, although that only really gets saucy at the end. Liam, it's a Wednesday for me in New Zealand. That's true, that's true. In some parts of the world, it's darn near Thursday, isn't it? Ah, Hyper Tuesday. There's always the book about Dibella, who is the goddess of, the goddess of sauce and love. A lot of sauce, though. Yeah, it's 1618. And then Juice, wait, Wednesdays? Oh, 5, right. Oh, no sleep. Are you having insomnia? Oh dear. Red sauce or white sauce? Probably the white sauce, although pink sauces are wonderful too, you know. Both is good. Juice, go to bed? Well, hopefully I can help a little bit in reading you to sleep. Does gravy count? Is gravy a sauce? Let me do something real quick here. I think I need an antacid because the the non-caffeine tea that I prefer is a bit more acidic than a lot of other teas, and so I think I've caused myself a little bit of heartburn. Quachi, welcome, welcome. Thanks for the first time chat. Caught us just as we were about to read an accounting of the Elder Scrolls, which may seem a little boring at first, but it does a very good job of getting at the true nature of the Elder Scrolls. Specs, Dibella was the one that gave mortals empathy and compassion. Our teachings are often misconstrued as exclusively sexual in nature. Essaying? No, I love Elder Scrolls essays. It's literally how I fall asleep most nights. Leah, my answer is gravy. White or brown gravy. Okay, now that I have that antacid down, bit of tea. Perhaps we'll read about Dibella after this. So this is an accounting of the Elder Scrolls, written by Quintus Naravellis. After the supposed theft of an Elder Scroll from our Imperial Library, I endeavored to find any sort of index or catalog of the scrolls in our possession so that such situations may be avoided, or at least properly verified in the future. To my dismay, I discovered that the moth priests are notoriously inexact when it comes to actual physical manifestations of the scrolls, and had no idea how many they held or how they were organized. Merely asking the question evoked chuckles, as if a child was asking why dogs cannot walk. I will confess, my jealousy of the ones who can read the scrolls grows, but I am not yet willing to sacrifice my sight to alleged knowledge. As my own little interruption here, reading the Elder Scrolls drains mortals of their sight, and the moth priests train so that they can read scrolls, perhaps even multiple, before their eyesight goes. The older moth priests I attempt to engage in conversations seem as batty as any other elder who's lost their mind, so I fail to see what wisdom is imparted from the reading. In any case, I set out to create my own index of the Elder Scrolls in cooperation with the monks. Day by day, we went through the towering halls, with them telling me the general nature of each Elder Scroll so that I might record its location. Always careful never to glimpse the writings myself. I had only their words to go on. I meticulously drew out a map of the chambers. Scrolls relating to various specific prophecies were located, where particular periods of history were housed. In all, it took nearly a year of plodding, but at last I had rough notes on the entirety of the library to begin my collation. It was here that things began to go amiss. In studying my notes, I found many areas of overlap and outright contradiction. In some cases, different monks would claim the same scroll to be at opposite ends of the tower. I know they have no taste for jesting, or else I would have suspected I was being made the fool in some game of theirs. I spoke to one of the older monks to relate my concerns, and he hung his head in sorrow for my wasted time.
Did I not tell you, he coughed, when you started, that all efforts would be futile? The scrolls do not exist in countable form.
I thought you meant there were too many to be counted.
There are, but that is not the least of their complexities. Turn to the repository behind you. Tell me how many scrolls are locked therein.
I ran my fingers over the metal casings, tallying each rounded edge that they encountered. I turned back. 14, I said.
Hand me the 8th one,
he said, reaching out his hand. I guided the cylinder into his palm, and he gave a slight nod to acknowledge it.
Now count again.
Humoring him, I again passed my hands over the scrolls, but could not believe what I was feeling. Now there are 18, I gasped. The old monk chuckled, his cheeks pushing up his blindfold until it folded over itself.
And, in fact, he said, there always were.
It was then that I enrolled as the oldest novice ever accepted into the cult of the Ancestor Moth. And that is an accounting of the Elder Scrolls. The Elder Scrolls are, not quite sure what you would call it. Non-Euclidean? Yeah, to be honest, brown gravy. But if there's onions on it, I'll flip the table. We can serve those separately, although I do adore caramelized onions. What if they just write down what the scrolls say, and then everybody reads those? They might laugh at you. And then you might go through the same thing this poor bloke did. They have little fried and cooked into it? Oh, like fried and cooked into it. I don't know why people do it. I think it's a British thing. Onions. Oh, fried and cooked into gravy? I mean, generally gravy is made from the leftover meat juice, right? So if you're cooking onions with the meat, which is not uncommon, I would guess that would be where the onions come from. Fine, keep your secrets, Mothman. As hard to read as Gandalf. Now I'm just going to imagine all the moth priests as just different versions of Gandalf, just hiding secrets and chuckling away. Stretch? Will do. Oh, by the way, I forgot to ask, as the raids came in so suddenly. Oh, how are you all doing tonight? Or is it not tonight for you all? I know for some of my listeners, it's often very early morning, or further east, often just middle of the afternoon. Let's do another shout out here, this time for Carla. Oh, thank you for the follow, Tonic. Thank you, thank you. Let's see. Shout out. Carva. Gin Blaze. There we go. We'll get through these eventually. Oh, Phoebe, your shoulders. Oh, you have to stretch as well. Stressful wake up, but I'm all right now. Did some chores, some drawing. Now I can be silly. Ah. Ooh. Oh. Oh, my neck is definitely stiff. It's going to take a while to get that stiffness out. Oh. Benini? Oh, that makes it sound so much cooler. I'd hang out with a bunch of Gandalfs drunk off Elder Scrolls. That's drunk off the Elder Scrolls. That would explain some things. Dream blunt rotation right there. Unfortunately, in all of the laughter, I bit the inside of my cheek. Now I've got a little welt. And I'm afraid that I'm going to bite it again because it's swelled up just a little bit. Let's see. Shall we read the Argonian Maiden oral tradition again for everybody who just came in? No, just. However many minutes ago that was. Oh. Or shall we read? Yeah, let's read this, because I think the Lusty Argonian Maid, Volumes 1 and 2, and the Sultry Argonian Bard, Volumes 1 and 2, are fairly short, unfortunately. Very, very bite-sized. Very nominal. A mouthful, if you will. Maybe hardly even that. Here is the Argonian Maid, an oral tradition by Tellinger the Artificer. But I still haven't heard the Argonian Bard Part 2, so I'm waiting for that. We could do our Sultry Argonian Bard as well. I forget what Volume 2 is, honestly. Oh, another sip. Thank you for the redeem, Liam. The Argonian Maid, an oral tradition. Recently, I attended a stage production called The Lusty Argonian Maid. Bawdy, delightful, and filled with innuendo. I am surprised it was never presented before in this form. According to my research, the Lusty Argonian Maid has its origins in a long line of tales told by traveling bards, each with a slightly different title and premise, but with the same end result. A female innocent succumbs to the charms of a dominant married male character. In the South, the tale was occasionally presented as the Lusty Bosmeri and 2 Moons for Sugar. I'm sure you can figure out what that alludes to. I've also heard Shornhelm's Lusty Orifice, bit on the nose. The Sandy Spear of Alakir, nice rhyming. And the Maiden's Tight Hold, in taverns across the north and northwest. In a stage play, each of the character archetypes is brought to life before the audience. Unless the acting is superb, the subject matter can come off flat and uninspired. Also, a play takes away from the verbal dexterity exhibited by a bard such as the legendary Khajiit, tale singer. The feline bard described the various ploys used by the man to bring the maiden to her knees in a way that made one's pulse race and breath quicken, wondering what would come next. Indeed, much of the Argonian maid borrows heavily from tale singers' songs, uncredited, but naturally I recognize them immediately, in which the maiden helps the male with a spear, a loaf of bread, and a spilt flask of coconut milk. Fortunately, the players in the current production of The Lusty Argonian Maid are excellent, bringing this age-old tale to new heights. The reference to the Spear of the Hunter would bring laughter to the most sullen, and the Wheel of Cheese. I've never seen this variant before, but it was truly inspired. I foresee this play will outlive its humble beginnings as a fireside amusement to become a choice bit of frivolous entertainment for generations to come. And that was an Argonian Maid, an oral tradition. The oral tradition part is important because otherwise it just becomes smut. To Mahab Nogard, welcome, welcome. Thanks for the follow. Welcome to the Succubard's library. Hope you enjoy your time here. Hope you find it cozy. And I hope you get plenty of sleep. And of course, to those nodding off to sleep, well, night-night and naughty dreams. Vivi, can smut not be an or... I suppose I'm making smut an oral tradition right now, aren't I? User was banned for this post? We don't ban people around here for... that's hardly even suggestive. Well, it's suggestive of being suggestive. Let us see, do we have a sultry Argonian bard? There's a volume 1, and there's a volume 2. The volume 1. And let me get these into readable form real quick. Oops, I forgot one line. Then, let's see, where is volume 2? There it is. EmoteEden is evidently the author of this particular text. Benini, we were talking about bread and spiders. I don't know what you were talking about. Ah, well. Usually that ends up being spiders that aren't too hard on the eyes. Vivi, your mom said you're not allowed to talk about bread. That's fair, considering some conditions may cause dietary issues? Digestive issues, there we go. Although, let me do 3 minutes of ads real quick to turn off the pre-roll ads. I won't read a story in the meantime, don't worry, you won't miss anything. Just mute the tab, get yourself something to sip, something to munch, stretch, and we'll see you all back here in 3. Liam, you gonna jump off? Hope y'all have a good night or morning. Thanks for coming. Hope you enjoyed it and have a good rest of the night. Oh, before I forget though, let's shout out Tonic. Tonic VT? Tonic VT, there we go. Halfway through the raids. I think. We still have Hazel and Pigeon and Specs to shout out. While the ads are running, does anyone have a favorite protozoa? I know somebody that absolutely would, but I don't think he's here tonight. Anyway, see you in 3. Be right back looking up protozoa. Oh. Stretch. I'm honestly a little scared to see how many people we ended up with in the stream. That was 6 raids. Like, that was a lot. It was a little shocking. Vivi wasn't too much of a surprise, but let's see. So we have the sultry Argonian Bard here. There we go. Vivi, I feel like I just stumbled into things. Well, you definitely started the avalanche by the looks of it. Volvox mentioned, Volvox, please come to Brazil? Wait, what's Volvox? Benini, I saw how many, it was a lot. I don't want to freak you out though. I'll check after the stream. I've actually had... Oh no. What is going on tonight? Welcome, Raiders. Welcome, Jaguar Not Milk. Welcome, welcome. You are the 7th raid in the last 30 minutes. Hi, how's it going? Not too bad. How's your stream? What are you playing? And welcome to the Succubard's library. My name is Octavia, the Succubard, and lore mistress, parentheses, in training somewhat. We have a, hopefully a cozy, comfy space here where I read and talk about the Elder Scrolls and the lore. And some people doze off. Some people sit and chat. Took over 2 hours to complete the 3rd chapter? Oh, what were you playing? 3rd chapter. For a sec there, I thought it was... We were talking about Act 3 of Baldur's Gate 3, but that doesn't complete in 2 hours. Baby, hello Raiders, welcome to the stream. Did you know that that virus is larger than bacteria and even cells in the human body? Jaguar, I may doze off, it's past midnight and I'm tired. Oh, Paper Mario 2, that makes sense. Unfortunately, I've never actually properly played Paper Mario. Oh, hopefully it was a lot of fun. Paper Mario is where Vivian is from, right? And also, don't worry. It's I definitely understand having to raid and run. Post-stream self-care and cooldown is super important. What, really? Yes, Panini, yes. I have, mostly because it was on handhelds. And I think I had the original brick Game Boy, I had color, Game Boy Light, which was super useful, but only Japan only. And then Game Boy Advanced. And from there, I haven't had a handheld console that's actually mine. It was just a ton of dialogue. Are you voicing all of the dialogue? Because I know that can get fairly strenuous. I haven't played it in a while, but when we played Octopath Traveler, for the parts that weren't voiced, which is most of it, I was doing all of the voices, including both the femme and mask voices, which really put my voice through a workout. Because doing mask voices is fairly strenuous as things go. Maybe I don't even know what a video game is. For anybody not in on the joke, Vivi is a walking, talking encyclopedia of video games. Minus MMOs. MMOs aren't quite her thing, but everything else she's either played or knows about, and probably can talk at length. Give probably a multi-lecture course on the technology behind it, various incidents that came up, the actual, design philosophy, all that stuff. No, just sitting through it. That's good to hear. Do make sure to get something to sip on. So even then, streaming can be fairly strenuous on the voice, and it's good to take care of it. Alright, so we'll read the Sultry Argonian Bard, which is, this is Volume 1 and Volume 2. I'm sure most of you have heard of the Lusty Argonian Maid, which is, I believe, Volume 1 introduced in Morrowind, and then Volume 2 introduced in Skyrim. Anyway, I'd hate to raid and run. No, I totally understand, and would even encourage it if needs be. But it's almost 1 a.m. Sleepy boya. Good luck reading the books. Thank you. And thanks again for the raid. I'll get the shoutouts eventually. I'm trying to go through my backlog. I think we've shouted out 3 out of the 7 so far. Let me see if the cooldowns down so I can actually shout out Hazel. I can. There we go. Oh, we'll get through it, chat. We'll get through it. So this is the Sultry Argonian Bard, Volumes 1 and 2 by MidnightVisuals. Act 6, Scene 2, continued. This is between Croontail and MidnightVisuals. Croontail. My lady, I could never perform your request. Elliot. Oh. Is it too fast for you? I fear that I might damage my instrument. Ah, but you seem to handle the instrument so well, my darling. You flatter me, my lady. Yes, well, it is such a large and magnificent piece. May I hold it? Goodness, no. The innkeeper would never approve of such public display. Then, may I suggest a private performance? Perhaps away from the noise of the inn, where we both may enjoy your tremendous talent. Surely you don't mean for me to accompany you to your room? Indeed I do, my sweet. Indeed I do. End of Act 6, Scene 2. This is Act 6, Scene 5, continued. Croontail, my lady, such a risque request you make of me to enter this hole and perform such a laborious task. Elia, my darling, this is no standard hole. This hole welcomes you into its recesses. You know this as well as I. Yes, but such depth this hole has, and its crevice is so damp, I fear this may be a hard task for me indeed. Surely, the harder this task becomes, the more fun it shall be. Oh, my lady, you do flatter me indeed. You're performing admirably so far. But this time, come now, Croontail, come. My lady, what if the innkeeper stumbles upon our proclivities? Perhaps you would also like to join us in tackling this hard task. Surely you don't mean... Indeed I do, my sweet. Indeed I do. And that is the end of Act 6, Scene 5. Unfortunately, there are no remaining texts to fill in the holes, so that I will leave to you. But Nini, this one is so straightforward. It is a little less subtle, isn't it? Perhaps this is one that was written with the lusty Argonian maid as inspiration, slightly less refined. It's had fewer centuries. My gods, what in the bleeding hells is going on? Oh, Whipple. Welcome, raiders. I don't know how much more I can handle. This is... When I say I can take them, 8 is a little much. 8 raids is well beyond my capabilities. Well beyond my capabilities for handling. Welcome. Another. Number 8. Oi. Hi, hello, Whiffle. How was stream? What did you play? How was it? And also, welcome, streamers. My name is Octavia con Amore. I am the Succubard of this library. And we read currently mostly Elder Scrolls books and a few other things here and there. We've been reading a lot of Lusty Argonian Maid and Sultry Argonian Bard tonight. In keeping in theme with the whole Octavia gets absolutely mobbed theme, evidently. Hope you're having a good stream. We played some Hello Kitty, then some No More Room in Hell too. No More Room in Hell? That's not what I know of. What sort of game is it? Phoebe the Floof? I wish I could stay. Lurk allowed, I guess? Oh, of course, of course. Lurks are not just allowed, but appreciated. And with the nature of this channel being partly a getting read to sleep sort of channel, lurks are more than common. I definitely get fewer chats, I think, than your average channel. Well, I actually managed to extract both missions. I wish I could as well, but it's time to get ready for bedtime. Aww. Night-night, and sweet dreams to you too. And thank you again for the raid. I'm trying to go through my shout-out backlog right now on cooldown. I think we're at number 5 out of 8 so far. I'm trying. I've been a bit of a naughty streamer and not actually set up a bot so that I could just spam them out as they happen in rapid succession. Um, speaking of, let me do another shout out here. This time it's Pigeon, isn't it? Pigeon, exclamation point. There we go. Nay. Thank you, Whiffle. Oh, thank you for the well wishes. Now, let's see here. So we just read the Sultry Argonian Bard, volumes 1 and 2, and definitely a little more direct, a little less refined, but I'm sure it's had less time. And this seems more like an autobiography than some sort of fanciful tale. So maybe we're getting fairly accurate insight into the things that Elia Erdane has experienced. They were saucy as fuck. Aqua Gambit, welcome. AFK for a bit, but I came here from the previous raid. Loved the idea of an ASMR streamer that reads out books on stream. Honestly, was tempted to try that myself at some point. Well, in that case, I am going to follow you. That is for sleep. That, I won't say it's my bread and butter, but most of my Elder Scrolls lore has been learned at the precipice between waking and sleep. And also, welcome. Let's see now. So that was the Sultry Argonian Bard. I promised to read about Dibella, didn't I? So Specs was talking earlier about Dibella. Right, so she tends to be known more for her saucy things, right? Very much well, I mean, you've seen her statue. Even the vanilla statue is very easy on the eyes, shall we say. But also, evidently was the one that gave mortals empathy and compassion. And yeah, her teachings are often misconstrued as exclusively sexual in nature. But hopefully this book will help explain that that isn't all she's about. Oh, I have a hat. Shadow Wolf, thank you, and Emerald Ursa, thank you for the follow. Thank you. It's rare that I have the hat on. Normally I don't even have ears, but somebody was insistent that I have the ears on tonight and redeemed the points, so I have cat ears for the night. Being a succubus, naturally, I have, little ram horns, but I tend to hide those nowadays. I might eventually show them again. Maybe. Anyway, this is Dibella's Mysteries and Revelations. Written by Lady Augustine Villiers, Sibyl of the House of Dibella. The skies of Orarest are stormy and changeable, more often grey than blue. But some morning, in Second Seed, the sun rises into the heavens blue and clear, and a mild, warm breeze blows in from the Iliac Bay. It was on just such a morning, under the trees, fragrant with blossoms, that I was welcoming several new novices to their vocation in the House of Dibella. They were full of questions, as the young always are. Holy Sybil, asked a young oyster catcher from Oldcroft. Is love truly the answer to every question? It is, if the question addresses the heart, said I. Rarely if it addresses the mind. Holy Sybil, asked the shy engraver from Al-Khair. Is it true we must dance for the worshippers while unclad? I smiled. That is as your spirit shall will, and as the weather shall allow. I have one, Holy Sybil, said the clever child of a Wayhurst banker. If the ages sacrifice themselves, each to add something to the making of the world, what did Our Lady contribute to the world? In reply, I scooped a double handful of fallen blossoms from the sward and rained them over his astonished brow. I am troubled, Holy Sybil, said the hostler from North Point, for I know not who is my father. That is not to the goddess of beauty, I gently replied, for she says, no matter the seed, if the shoot is nurtured with love, will not the flower be beautiful? What if a congregant seeks me as ardor partner, said the knight scion of Evermore, but I find her without favor. Love whoever you may, I sang, but love coerced is not love at all. Holy Sybil, is it true what they say? Stammered the owlkeeper's heir. That you lost your sight from the great flu. It is, I smiled. But what of that? For can I not dance? Holy Sybil, Holy Sybil! Peace, young novices, I cried. For it is Fredas, the bell tolls sundown, and the congregants await us in the chapel. Come now, come, bring wine, bring tambours, bring light feet and warm hearts. Our Lady calls us to worship. And that was Dibella's mysteries and revelations. Very much as Spexifier mentioned, that it's not just sexual teachings that fall within the domain of Dibella. Very much beauty and love, and Mara seems to have in her domain partnered love or devoted love, perhaps. Usually a single partner, married, that sort of thing. Whereas Dibella feels much more like sharing love, not just sex, but love with people and sharing, good times and that sort of thing. Aman, welcome, welcome. Lusty Argonian maid, please. Well, you are very, very lucky that I haven't read the Lusty Argonian maid tonight. There we go. A little bit more tea for my poor throat. We've read The Argonian Maid, An Oral Tradition, A Sultry Argonian Bard, Volumes 1 and 2, and even a book about Dibella. But not The Lusty Argonian Maid. I don't know if we've ever read all of these in the same night. Has me curious. Do I have The Lusty Argonian Maid as a text document? I do not. So let me do that. Also, if you're on the YouTube side of things, please, if you'd like to support me, like, sub, share it with people. And if you've missed part of the stream, the live stream does get saved on the YouTube channel if you'd like to listen back to it, or just use it as a sleep aid. Let's see. Let me go get the Lusty Argonian Maid real quick here off the shelves. Let's see. There's volume 1 and volume 2. And so there's volume 2. Bonini. So wait, who is this lady who teaches people about emotions? Dibella? Dibella. D-I-B-E-L-L-A. Dibella. You'll see her statues. She's usually unclad above the waist and generally is holding aloft a lily? A lilac? Some sort of flower over her head. And her statues generally tend to be golden and have this sort of sweeping swirl to her form and up into the flower. Fairly easy to spot. And in fact, in Skyrim, the city of Markarth even has a whole temple dedicated to her. Otherwise, you'll see her statues here and there in various people's possessions. It's fairly rare, but probably maybe 6 to 8 exist in the world. And yes, she is one of the 9 divines. Let me save this real quick. Yeah. Vivi, Octavia, how come you never want to read the 2002 Toyota Corolla manual? It's a little bit inaccessible, honestly. And too much jargon, really. Benini, she's kind of my goat. Seems like a good god to worship. Same. Definitely my patron deity when it comes to the Elder Scrolls. Now, let's see. Let us do another shout out here. We did pigeons, so let's do specs. There we go. Specs is someone that I've known for quite a while, and definitely a stream that I tune into here and there. Shana Wolf, got to go. Have a good night, all. Night, night, Shana Wolf. Hopefully we'll see you here again. Thanks for hanging around. And also, Specs has a good head for media analysis. So if you get him talking about either the game that he's playing in game design or other topics, right? Other media, other games that, you just end up talking about. I got some really solid insight into various things. Speaking of, if you'd like, I do have a Discord where you can join us. Of course, stream alerts, but also other things as well. slowly building it up. It's still a little in construction. It's still a little quiet, but hopefully we can build it up into a thriving, maybe not rambunctious or raucous, but a fun place, a comforting place. Now, Aman, you requested Lusty Argonian Maid. So here it's Volume 1 and Volume 2, which are the only volumes that I personally know about. Although there may be more, and I am totally willing to read more if we can find them. This is The Lusty Argonian Maid, Volume 1. And this is Between Liftsertail and Crontius Colto. Act 4, Scene 3, continued. Certainly not, kind sir. I am here but to clean your chambers. Is that all you have come for, little one? My chambers? I have no idea what it is you imply, master. I am but a poor Argonian maid. So you are, my dumpling, and a good one at that. Such strong legs and shapely tail. You embarrass me, sir. Fear not. You're safe here with me. I must finish my cleaning, sir. The mistress will have my head if I don't. Cleaning? I have something for you. Here, polish my spear. But it is huge. It could take me all night. Plenty of time, my sweet. Plenty of time. End of Act 4, Scene 3. I'll go Gambit. Gotta head off to bed. Hope to catch another stream in the future. Thank you, and thank you for the follow. Welcome to the Succubard's library. And night-night, and sweet dreams. Banini, the spear has to always be huge. Yeah, it's odd, you know. I mean, spears generally, if they become too long or too thick around, they become unwieldy, right? If they become too long, then when you swing it, it hits the ground. And so your angles of attack are limited. And if it's too thick, then it becomes so much harder to actually keep a hold of. So I'm not quite sure why the spear is always huge. It's anybody who's trained with a staff knows these are basic things. There's a reason certain lengths of staff exist. And spears are, you know, it's a certain size around, generally speaking. But honestly, there's too much of a good thing. There is, yeah. Also, the other thing with spears and too much length or girth is that they become heavier, which means they become unwieldy. Maybe enough about spears. Tridents are where it's at. That's fair. Although personally, I'm really more about halberds. No tridents, more shields. Where are all of my shields? Yeah. Anyway, here is further into the Lusty Argonian Maid. This is Act 7, Scene 2, continued. And this is again Liftsertail and Crontius. Oh, my goodness, that's quite a loaf. But how shall it fit in my oven? This loaf isn't ready for baking, my sweet. It is yet to rise. If only we could hurry that along. How would I accomplish such a task? Oh, my foolish little Argonian maid. You must use your hands. You wish me to knead the loaf? Here. Of course. But what if Mistress catches me? Your loaf was meant to satisfy her appetite. Don't fret, my delicate flower. I'll satisfy the mistress's cravings later. Very well, but I'm afraid my oven isn't hot enough. It could take hours. Plenty of time, my sweet. Plenty of time. And Act 7, Scene 2. Vivi making more and more strained innuendos, but picking stranger and more obscure weapons. That caltrop gotta make me act up. What is a caltrop? Is a caltrop just a strap-on? Is that what's going on here? Or is this more of this, like, stepping on things business? It's really stepping on caltrops is, I mean, oof. My, what, multi-angled, kapinga? Oh. Tonight is, well and truly gone. Not off the rails. We were diverted onto a different path. Vivi, please look up the kapinga. There's a wild throwing knife. Okay. Benini, it's a medieval spike trap. I don't know what you're talking about. Well, yes, you strap it onto your waist, right? That's what you do with caltrops, and then when you have to make a hasty retreat, you take them off your waist and you scatter them along the ground, right? Yeah, exactly. Got to keep it close to the midsection. I see. Vivi was used by the Azande of West Africa. Bless you, Aurora. And Katt sneezes. Although, give me a quick break. I'm actually going to just run ads again. Starwind. Hello, hello. Sorry, I was just about to go on a water break real quick. I will be back as soon as I can. And I'm going to run ads on Twitch in the meantime, because I'll be back. The ads will be done well before I come back. Usually it takes 4 or 5 minutes, so. But, and then we will keep on reading. Don't go anywhere. I'll be back as soon as I can. And there we go. I'm back. And I have made the blunder again. I have said I will be back. I will run ads. I was back. I did not run ads. Ah. Ah. How often this happens? How often this happens? Maybe I am coordinated some things, sometimes occasionally. That's about how I feel right now. Starwind, I was just about to lie down. Beautiful reading a perfect companion. Thank you. Hope the night finds you feeling better than the last stream. Thank you, thank you. It's been fairly nice so far tonight, although it's been fairly, not quite overwhelming, but I've had 8 different streamers, some of whom I know, some of whom I don't, raid into my stream, which on Twitch, at the end of a stream, instead of just cutting the stream, you can just take your current viewers and yourself and go visit someone else's stream. It's called a raid. 8 raids in one stream. We did specs Jaguar Not Milk. There we go. That's Jaguar Not Milk. And we have one more. Whiffle came in as well. So we'll shout him out. And then we will actually be properly through all of the raids, I think. Hopefully. It has been a night, and has been... Oof. Let's see. Banini Borderline. Shout out to Simple Flips. What? Baby's voice is very helpful in soothing me to sleep. 5 out of 5 stars. I'm glad. Banini, I'm going to be real. I don't know how anyone falls asleep listening to Argonian Maid Bard Tales. I definitely wouldn't be able to sleep for a little while after that. Yeah. That would, Yeah. There's a reason I was blushing the whole entire last hour. And it wasn't just the raids. It wasn't just the raids. Simple Flips is a runner in the Mario community, but there was this one Mario 64 mod where a ton of signs just said shout out to Simple Flips. Interesting. Vivi, you've fallen asleep listening to Stranger Things? That's fair. I don't know if I've ever fallen asleep listening to something quite as saucy as the Argonian Tales, but because that really does sound like a recipe for not being able to get to sleep for some reason, and sleep being delayed for 2 hours. Now, let's read some lore, shall we? Oh, Starwind, tonight has been... There has never been another night where I have read this much Argonian things. We read Lusty Argonian Maids 1 and 2. Sultry Argonian Bard, volumes 1 and 2. We read the Argonian Maid, An Oral Tradition. And on top of that, we read Debella's Mysteries and something or another. Debella's Mysteries and Revelations. Meanwhile, I'm just getting absolutely mobbed. Tonight has been a night. Somebody put cat ears on me earlier. I still have them on. Meow. 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 It's been a little bit chaotic, but fun. Oh, super fun. I'm glad. It's definitely more chaotic than any other stream I've ever done. And now we're just cats. I thought you looked a little different. Yeah. Oh. Bunnies. Yeah. So on the Twitch side of things, I can actually, there's things called channel points, which people rack up when they watch, and then they can spend it on some things. And they can free the hair, they can give me a hat, which is why I had the hat on earlier. And then they can also give me the ears. There's a couple others besides. I forgot what I put. Right, there's the take care of streamers, the streamer thing, where it's munch, stretch, sip, rest the eyes. So yeah. And people can ask for an ara. Ara. Not quite sure with what else to put in the point redeems yet, but I'm sure we'll figure it out. Maybe the lusty Argonian maid will be the one of the point redeems. You have to spend channel points to request it. These are super fun. Oh. I have considered just going, okay, just tip me $5 and I will read the lusty Argonian maid again for the third time tonight. Also, big thanks to all the people that are subbed, as well as the people that support me on Coffee, especially the monthlies. 'Cause, yeah, you literally put food on my table, and in the kitties' bowls too. Maybe tip Octavia $5 either way. Yes, please. Or you could tip me $5 and you don't get anything at all. That's fair. That's fair. Not even jokes. Not even a 2002 Toyota Corolla manual. Alright, so this is the Dragon Break re-examined. Copies, copies! I currently have tea. Because if I had coffees now... Oof. Now, if this was more of a morning stream, if this was about 12 hours ago, absolutely. Well, not coffee, but caffeine tea. What was that support site? Coffee? Oh, ko-fi.com/Octavia con amore. It's in the links. I think it's in the stream description. Yeah, handles single tips. You can also change it from one time to monthly. And do that. And all of it goes to basics. Yeah, coffee. Yep. Working on getting a Patreon up as well, and also working on getting something to actually give back for people that do monthly support. But I'm slowly working on it. Unfortunately, my energy these days is Speaking of Patreon, what of it? Did you have something in mind? Oh, check it out. Thank you, Starwind. Vivi, they're going to allow pay per post again instead of just per month. Oh, for people that put out like one really, really good video every however many months. Since Apple lost in court about the way they charge for things on the Apple Store. Ooh. An Apple loss is generally good in my book, which is the reason that Patreon got rid of that. Oh, really? Well, now. But yeah, I am definitely happy that Apple lost their card case. But let's. Oh, Luna. Oh, huh? Paper post is back. That's what you picked up on. Not the last hour of various subjects. Anywho, this is the Dragon Break. Bush Nyanya. Welcome back. Had no idea the court already made a ruling. Ooh, thanks for the info. And hello again. It's good to see you. Reading. Well, I still have some time with the pre-roll ads turned on. The Dragon Break, re-examined by Faldrune. Although this book is found in Morrowind and Oblivion, it mentions events that have not yet happened in these games. Considering the nature of the topic of this book, this was certainly intentional. Additionally, the author's name, Faldrune, is an anagram for darn fool. The late Third Era was a period of remarkable religious ferment and creativity. The upheavals of the reign of Uriel VII were only the outward signs of the historical forces that would eventually lead to the fall of the Septim Dynasty. The so-called Dragon Break was first proposed at this time by a wide variety of cults and fringe sects across the empire, connected only by a common obsession with the events surrounding Tiber Septim's rise to power, the founding myth, if you will, of the Septim Dynasty. The basis of the Dragon Break doctrine is now known to be a rather prosaic error in the timeline printed in the otherwise authoritative Encyclopedia Tamrielica, first published in Third Era 12, during the early years of the Tiber Septim reign. At that time, the archives of Alinor were still inaccessible to human scholars, and the extant records from the Alessian period were extremely fragmentary. The Alessians had systematically burned all the libraries they could find, and their own records were largely destroyed during the War of Righteousness. The author of the Encyclopedia Tamrielica was apparently unfamiliar with the Alessian year, which their priesthood used to record all dates. We now know this refers to the length of the long vision trances undertaken by the high priestesses, which might last anywhere from a few weeks to several months. Based on the analysis of the surviving trance scrolls, as well as murals and friezes from Alessian temples, I estimate that the Alessian order actually lasted only about 150 years, rather than the famous 1008 years given by the Encyclopedia Tamrielica. The, quote, mystery of the millennial plus rule of the Alessians was accepted but unexplained until the spread of the Lorcan cults in the late Third Era, when the doctrine of the Dragon Break took hold. because this dating and explanation was so widely held at the time, and then repeated by historians down through today, it has come to have the force of tradition. Recall, however, that the Third Era historians were already separated from the Lessians by a gulf of more than 2,000 years, and history was still in its infancy, relying on the few archives from those early years. Today, modern archaeology and paleonumerology have confirmed what my own research in Alessian dating first suggested, that the dragon break was invented in the late Third Era based on a scholarly era fueled by obsession with eschatology and Numidianism, and perpetuated by scholarly inertia. Speaking of, perhaps we shall read another book about the dragon break. That tells a very, very different story. Maybe you heard it through the grapevine from some artists? Ah, that would make sense. My leisure too. Thank you for the follow. Thank you, thank you. Welcome to the Succubard's library. Hope you have a cozy time. Let's see. What is the book that I am thinking of? The shelves are getting rather populated nowadays. But we have read it before. Warp in the West? Words in Philosophy, The Warp in the West. There it is. The Warp in the West. Dragon Break sounds like something important. It is. And also confounding. I learned in Oblivion that rulers are always dragonborn or something, so. Yep. So the septum line of emperors is dragonborn. But there are the Mede line, the Mede emperors are not dragonborn. But they didn't need to be. The reason that Cyrodiilic emperors needed to be dragonborn is because Saint Alessia's covenant with Akatosh said that as long as her line stayed true, that the dragon fires of the capital city, and as long as the dragon fires were lit, Akatosh and the rest of the divines would create a strong barrier between Tamriel, or Nirn, and the Daedric realm of Oblivion. And there are still some ways to get through. I mean, we've read it before on Oblivion and the Doors of Oblivion, where Morian Zenis makes his way, eventually finds a portal after quite a long time of searching, right? And finds a way in. And there are, I'm sure, ways out of Oblivion as well. But unfortunately, I think saying the rest of this would be a spoiler for Oblivion. I don't think I can explain this without spoiling Oblivion, so I'm just going to have to wait until you at least get through certain parts of Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. Kind of want to somehow join the Daedra side, to be honest. That would be interesting. I don't know if there's ever... The Daedra are fairly... Is ephemeral the right word? I don't think they're ever really a faction that you can join. You do have run-ins with various Daedric princes over the games, but overall, I think that's about as far as it gets. Let's see. Daedras are so mean, queh. They definitely can be. I think there are... The Daedra themselves are a fairly mean bunch. But the Daedric princes are a little more varied. The Daedric princes like Azura are a little less openly hostile and mean. She still has a very much Daedric origins, and some of her acts would absolutely read Daedric. But on the whole, she's not too bad. And the thing is, so the Aedra, the divines, the 9 divines, or at least 8 of the 9 divines, helped create Nirn, but in doing so, they sacrificed much of themselves in the creation. They put a lot of themselves in the creation and grew weak. And so they really don't directly intervene. Whereas the Daedra did not help, and realizing that doing so would carve off bits of their power. And as I said, we're just going to make little pocket dimensions that we rule and still have access to Nirn. And we're going to do what we want to. We're going to have underlings that will do what we want them to. One angry boy. Thank you for the follow. Thank you, thank you. Benini, I think it'd make for a very interesting quest to raid with the army through a portal. As long as I get cool demon powers, I'm on board with them. Ah. Oh, I'm sure you'll get plenty of chances. Let me do a shout out for Wiffle now. There we go. He's a comfy streamer that I actually usually tend to raid. Hello, saw you on YouTube and wanted to support in both places. Oh, thank you, thank you. Twitch has better audio quality, but you can't rewind on Twitch. And videos of streams get deleted in a month or two. But it has channel points, has a couple other things. Some people just like YouTube better. So whichever one you feel best on. I do need to change that message, don't I? Since I don't primarily do music anymore. That's a shame. Now, that's... Right, Warp in the West. That's what we're going to read. So this is a fairly long book, so I am going to take breaks. This is probably about a 30-minute read. But this talks about the Warp in the West, or the Dragon Break, which... It's the one Dragon Break I know of, but as far as I know, there can be multiple Dragon Breaks. It's just the name of phenomena. Where time... Well, so Akatosh is the time dragon, right? So if he shatters, time shatters, and then is eventually brought back together again as a whole, into one timeline again. That's sort of where the whole dragon break terminology comes from. The warp in the west is the name for this particular dragon break that takes place during the events of the Elder Scrolls 2 Daggerfall. Chunkmaster 9999. Welcome, welcome. I'm a wizard. Oh, that penguin is so cute. The bongo. Welcome, welcome. We're just about to read The Warp in the West, which is a book about a dragon break from multiple eyewitnesses of the event. Bibbity bobbity? Do you ponder an orb or perhaps another shape? Ponder orb? No. There we go. Ponder orb. Nope. Nope. There we go. Ponder orb. I have too many triggers and I don't remember what they are. So the dragon just keeps dying and coming back? Sometimes he shatters. Sometimes he doesn't. Chunkmaster, you ponder seals. They're like basketballs, but cute. You know what? Fair. There we go. Oh. Let me run 3 minutes of ads real quick, because I just realized the pre-rolls are turned back on, which is not good. And then we will get into A Warp in the West. And I promise I won't read anything important in the meantime. We'll just be chatting. See you in 3. And I think I need to take another antacid, because as the... Oh. There we go. Typey. I think I need another antacid if I can get one out of here. There we go. Banini, you wonder why you never get ads? Good question. Perhaps you've been deemed not a demographic that companies want to advertise to? Oh, Chunkmaster, are you still here with us? Hello. You should look up wizard cats. I am a wizard cat. Not really. I'm a Succubard. The cat ears are just to blend in with the other cat girls. Yep. Panini, hell yeah, I don't want to buy any of your ad stuff. Yeah, right? I literally just mute the tab. Don't mute the stream, because that tells them you aren't watching, but you just mute the tab. And evidently it counts. V-Bean, welcome. How's your evening going so far? Welcome to Succubard's library. Just waiting for people to come back from ads in about a minute. And then we're going to read about The Warp in the West, which is a fairly infamous event that happens in the Elder Scrolls. Was it 2nd era? No, it was 3rd era. Not getting ads either, oddly. I wonder why. Do I have something checked that makes... I don't think I have any of the things checked. Odd. Oh well. Stretch. Thank you for the redeem. I will flippity flippity make that go longity. Please and thank you. Some of these muscles really, really like being short. And I don't like them being short. Yet they're painful, honestly. Oh, how are you? Not too bad. It's been a fun night. I usually don't get raided, and then tonight, all of a sudden, we've had 8 raids in the span of 30 minutes. 4 of those raids came within about a minute of each other. It was a bit of a raucous party for a while. A bit more stretchy. Oh. Okay. So this is the warp in the west. In this book, we get to see how a dragon break looks from the viewpoint of characters that have not heard of a dragon break, let alone have any understanding of what they are. And these are eyewitness accounts of various Blades agents, which if you've played Oblivion, or Skyrim, or I suppose Morrowind as well, you know what the Blades are. Of course, they have various agents throughout throughout Tamriel. Truckmaster, flippity floppity, make that cat go longity. I thought of a funny wizard name. The flippity floppity longity. So this is a report from a fairly high up Blades agent to the Grandmaster of the Blades. Member of the High Council? Do the Blades have a High Council? I thought the High Council was under the Emperor. I mean, the Blades are too, but I thought they were more of a civil body as opposed to a clandestine body. Oh, okay. Secret. For your eyes only. Let me offer my congratulations to your lordship for your recent appointment as ambassador to the court of Wayrest. Your lordship asked me for a review of existing Blades accounts from 3rd Era 417 concerning the warp in the west. For a summary of the current state of affairs there. Since your lordship was in Blackmarsh, serving in the staff of Admiral Sosorius at the time, you probably know of these events only from imperial proclamations and chapel declarations, which identify this period as, quote, the miracle of peace. Thank you for the sip, Chunkmaster. During the miracle of peace, according to official accounts, the formerly war-racked Iliac Bay region was transformed overnight from a patchwork of squabbling duchies and petty kingdoms into the peaceful modern counties of Hammerfell, Sentinel, Wayrest, and Orsinium. The miracle of peace also known as the Warp in the West, is celebrated as the product of the miraculous intervention of Stendar, Mara, and Akatosh to transform this troublesome region into peaceful, well-governed imperial counties. The catastrophic destruction of landscape and property and the large loss of life attending upon this miracle is understood to have been, quote, tragic and beyond mortal comprehension. Jumpmaster, I have to go to bed. Have a good night or day. Night-night and sweet dreams. Thank you for stopping by. See you again, hopefully. In as much as this account confirms and validates the current borders of these counties and identifies the rulers and boundaries of these counties as ordained by the Nine, the miracle of peace serves imperial objectives of peaceful consolidation of ancient petty states and sovereigns into manageable imperial jurisdictions. The other remarkable features of these events, mass disappearances, armies mysteriously transported hundreds of miles or completely annihilated, titanic storms and celestial phenomena, apparent local discontinuities of time, fit comfortably into the notion that these events are part of a vast, mysterious divine intervention. However, this is only the public account of these events, and as you may suspect, it conflicts with many other accounts. In short, while this explanation suits imperial policy, it has little historical validity. Your lordship should know that the Blades have concluded there is no plausible historical account of these events, and despairs that a plausible historical account shall ever be produced. The Blades have concluded that a miracle occurred. Insofar as the events are inexplicable, but the Blades strongly doubt the miracle was of divine origin. There's good reason to believe that the ruling families of the 4 modern Iliac Bay counties had forewarning of the event. There's also some evidence that some of these ruling families may have been directly or indirectly responsible for the event. We do not know the exact sequence of events or actions that produced the event, although we are confident that the totem artifact was involved, and that a Blades agent was involved in employing that artifact. We unfortunately lost contact with that agent immediately after the event. His report might have gone some way to resolving the contradictory and paradoxical accounts of the event. The Blades have on file few reports from agents dating from the Warp in the West period. Most of our agents were lost in the initial dislocations, and others were lost in the confusion after the event. I present a few of those reports to give you a general sense of their limitations, including the report of your diplomatic predecessor, Lord Straw. You will have had access to other private and rumored accounts of the period. I believe you will agree that these documents raise more questions than they answer. And the next section is the report of Hammerfell agent Briarbard, which I will read as soon as I get myself a little bit more tea. Vivi, I have little historical validity. Bonini, oh, I know the Blades, yeah. Joffre is head of the Blades during the period of time that you're in. Bushnyanza. I'm surprised to see how many important books I missed. I mean, it's quite alright. That's why you're here, right? I mean, even for me, I know quite a bit about lore, but often didn't know about individual books or what they held. And so, reading has actually been my way of making an accounting of the books, if you will. The report of Hammerfell agent Briarbird. I was on assignment in the Alakir Desert, a few miles south of Bergama, on the 9th of Frostfall. I was encamped as it was still early in the morning when I felt the ground shake so violently I was thrown to the ground. Dazed, I was aware of a great roar of a sandstorm which alarmed me, as I had been on a high dune and had seen nothing like that on the horizon. It was on me before I was even on my knees, burying me and my camp. When I crawled my way out of the sand, I realized I must make haste and get to Bergama as soon as possible, as all my food and water had been swept away. The sun was just rising as I began. Like I said, when I reached Bergama, it was nightfall. The town was in chaos, filled with the soldiers of Sentinel. The lord of Bergama's fortress was in ruins. There had been an attack, but no one had seen it, only the invasion that followed it. The soldiers of Queen Akorithi of Sentinel refused to be interviewed about how they had accomplished this sneak attack, but I came to learn that the whole of northern Hammerfell now belonged to them. Even stranger, I discovered that my walk from sunrise to sundown had not taken me 1 day, but 2. It was now the 11th day of the month, not the 10th. I had lost a day somewhere, and so apparently had everyone else, except Akarithi's soldiers, who somehow were aware of the correct date. I since have concluded that they had received advanced warning, and so were better prepared to deal with the strange confusion of time and dates associated with the warp. The report of High Rock agent Grey Lady. I was, at the time of the warp, undercover as a witch in the Skeffington Coven of Phrygius in central High Rock. In order to give my report, I had volunteered for an expedition to gather supplies, which would allow me the freedom to reach my contact in Camlorn. I was traveling northeast along the foothills of the Rothgarian Mountains on the 9th of Frostfall, when I felt a great heat behind me, like fire. I turned, but I regret to say I cannot tell you what I saw. The healers tell me my eyes were burnt out of my sockets. I think I must have fallen into a state of semi-consciousness, for I distinctly remember falling as the ground seemed to give way beneath me. Then there was a series of explosions in the distance, to the south, and I heard high whistling noises that were getting louder, coming closer. I had my shield with me, and fortunately anticipated that volleys of some sort were falling from the sky. Though I could not see them, I could hear them coming from a distance away, and was able to use my shield to block them from striking me. The assault stopped suddenly, and I could smell smoke. I later learned that most of the forest of Vicolon and Phrygius had caught fire in an inferno that started further south in Diania and the Elysian Hills. Fortunately, I kept my bearings and moved north, finally reaching a temple in the wilderness where my wounds were healed as well as they could be. It was there I learned that there had been a three-way clash between Daggerfall, Wayrest, and Orsinium, not far from where I had been, and that the land midway between their kingdoms had been decimated. The report of Ambassador Lord Nigenstrahl. His Imperial Majesty sent me on a delicate errand, the details of which I cannot convey in this unsecure report. But my official capacity was to be the Emperor's ambassador to the court of Wayrest. From there, I was to meet an old friend, Lady Brisienne, who was already in the vicinity. Foregoing any attempt at stealth, I was on an Imperial barge, sailing westward on the Bjolsay, the morning of the 9th of Frostfall. I remember it was a slightly chilly day, but the sky was very blue. We had just passed the delightful riverside village of Candlemas when the captain sounded the alarm. There, in front of us, was a colossal wall of water, at least 30 feet high. It smashed our barge to splinters before any of us had a chance to react. I woke up on the shore, having been rescued by one of my servants who had miraculously not lost consciousness. He and I and one other man were the only survivors. I thought at first that it was suspiciously similar to what happened to another agent of ours in High Rock, but a short time before, where a freak storm had shipwrecked him in the Iliac Bay near Privateer's hold. Furious and determined to see if similar forces were at work, I began a quick march to Wayrest. The march, however, was not so terribly quick. The villages all along the Bjolsay were on fire, and battles raged between the orcs of Orsinium and the soldiers of King Eadwyr in the formerly independent Principality of Garvadon, just east of Wayrest. I'm an accomplished mage and quite able to defend myself, but it took the better part of a week to make it those few miles to Wayrest. Eadwyr of Wayrest and his queen Berenzaya were celebrating their great victories when I arrived. By then, I had gathered the barest facts of the matter. That simultaneously there were 7 great battles in the Iliac Bay, and no one could describe them at all, only their blood-soaked aftermath. To summarize, on the 9th of Frostfall, there had been 44 independent kingdoms, counties, baronies, and dukedoms surrounding the Iliac Bay, if one includes the unconquered territories of the Rothgarian Mountains, the Dragontail Mountains, the High Rock Sea Coast, the Isle of Balfiera, and the Alakir Desert. On the 11th of Frostfall, but 2 days later, there were but 4: Daggerfall, Sentinel, Wayrest, and Orsinium. And all the points where they met lay in ruins as the armies continued to do battle. I was determined to find the truth from the king, even if I had to be a most undiplomatic diplomat to do it. Eadwyr, though a generally jovial sort, had blustered, saying he did not want to give out military secrets. The queen, ever calm with those unreadable red eyes of hers, told me, "We do not know." I think it is safe to assume that Baron Zaya did not tell me everything, but the facts of her story, which I later verified after pointed interviews in Daggerfall, Sentinel, and Orsinium, was that they had learned that a certain powerful, ancient weapon was going to be activated. I shan't give the name of it here. Out of fear it would be used against Wayrest, the king had attempted to buy it from the young adventurer who discovered its whereabouts. Eadweir believed, as it turns out quite rightly, that other powers in the Bay had also attempted to win ownership of this device. What happened then, as Baron Zaya said, we do not know. The morning of the 9th and the morning of the 11th somehow merged through some sort of warp in the west, and Wayrest found themselves at war. Their land had expanded threefold, but they were under attack by Daggerfall to the west, Orsinium to the east, and Sentinel to the south. There had been no time to understand what had happened, the king said. They had simply reacted, sending their armies to defend their lands against these enemies whose kingdoms had also gained great territorial advantage. The battles continued on. The battles continue on. Now, months later, as I return to the Imperial City to make my report. What more do I have to say? They are bloody, violent clashes, as is always the case with modern warfare, but I have been to the blackened, desolate no man's land between the 4 remaining kingdoms. No mortal army caused that devastation. I can say that the force that shook the Iliac Bay on the 10th of Frostfall, 3rd Era 417, was infinitesimally greater than the power these mighty kingdoms are wielding today. I can say that there are other strange events on that day which kept the kingdoms from breaking free of the Empire and accomplished likely more besides. And I can say there is nothing left of it, this power, this weapon, in the bay. The warp that created it swallowed it up. And one last section. Banini. Usually my eyes start going sideways and my brain goes fuzzy when trying to figure out Elder Scrolls lore, but now Oblivion gives me a point of reference. It's a good point of reference. I think in terms of any one game, it may be a good middle ground. Because there's a lot of history that's happened, a lot of history that's been documented, but you're also living through history and experiencing a lot of the forces that lore talks about. So yeah. Bush Nyanja, same here. But yeah, okay, so there is so much PvP going on that it's breaking reality. What the fuck? So do you remember we were talking about Emperor Uriel Septim VII and his battle mage advisor, Yagar Tharn? And how Yagar Tharn had used his power to imprison the Emperor in a pocket dimension of reality, or a pocket dimension of oblivion, and pretend to be the Emperor for however many years it was. And how the Queen Baron Zaya had been instrumental in realizing that Yagar Tharn was definitely not Uriel Septim VII, and finding a way to defeat Yagar Tharn and rescue Uriel Septim VII. Well, there was a relic involved of some sort. I forgot what exactly it was. It may have been a staff. those events. Yuri El Septum? Ah, the Yuri, it spreads. I approve. So those are the events of Daggerfall. And those events led directly to the warp in the west. So it's not so much there was so much PvP going on. There was some PvP going on. But the forces at work were slightly outside of mortal scope for the most part. Meaning, oh, he did get saved, right, but he was kind of crazy. Not so much crazy as much more reserved, I think. Much more cautious. And he was betrayed by both his teacher and his closest advisor, right? And also Yagartharn's advice had often been more not physically aggressive, but aggressive just in terms of getting things done, right? And so in later years, he became much more conservative, much more doing things subtly as well. And I've been applying for jobs while listening, so I'm not doing myself any favors trying to understand what's going on. Oh dear. I do not envy you trying to understand both Elder Scrolls lore and job applications at the same time. So this is the last section. This is the current political affairs in the Iliac Bay. Current political affairs in the Iliac Bay. Almost 20 years have passed, and the region, though transformed, has stabilized. There are no more disputed territories, and the kingdoms of Daggerfall, Wayrest, Sentinel, and Orsinium hold their new borders in relative peace. Wayrest spreads across the eastern coast of the bay, stretching from the land formerly called Anteclara to half of Gavadon. Eadware has passed on to his ancestors, leaving his kingdom in the hands of his daughter Elisana, who has 2 children by her royal consort, and seems likely to hold her father's lands. Your lordship may also choose to communicate directly with King Helseth and Queen Berenzaya in Mournhold. Their primary preoccupations are, of course, with Morrowind's affairs, but they may still be useful observations upon Wayrest's ruling families and political environment that may aid you in your understanding of the court of Queen Elisana. King Gortwog of Orsinium controls much of the Rothgarian Mountains, as well as the profitable river coast of the Bjorse. He persists in his demands that Orsinium be recognized as an imperial province separate from High Rock. The Elder Council treats Gortwog as a recognized king and collects taxes directly from Orsinium, but officially Orsinium remains a county of High Rock, though technically it spans both the provinces of High Rock and Hammerfell. Sentinel has gained the most land, sprawling across the entire southern Iliac Bay, from Abibongora beyond the Dragontail Mountains to the edge of Mornoth, Orsinium's territory. Queen Akorithi, at her death, left her enormous kingdom to her only surviving son, Lotun, who is now surely one of the most powerful kings in Tamriel. Daggerfall is still ruled by the Breton king, Gothrid, and the Redguard queen, Aubki. Their land now encompasses all of western High Rock, from the borders they share with Wayrest at Anteclara to the east, to Ikalon to the north. They have 4 children now, and are much beloved in their realm. If there are other repercussions of the mysterious warp in the west, they have not yet come to our attention in the course of 20 years of observation. And that was A Warp in the West. Quite a long book, but definitely, again, it's told from the eyewitness accounts, right? So you get very much a feeling of what the events felt like. Benini, I opened up a map of Tamriel and it helped a lot. Ooh, yes, absolutely. So especially since Hammerfell, Orsinium, High Rock, Sentinel, I don't think have been touched since Daggerfall, I think. Cyrodiil, Oblivion takes place mostly in Cyrodiil, Skyrim, and Morrowind, which are the center of Tamriel. Morrowind to the west, and west to northwest, and Skyrim to the north. Oblivion's books are dense, golly. Great read, though. Don't worry, most of them are fairly sparse. I've just gathered the thickest for my shelves. I'm rather fond of them having at least a little bit of a... Oh... How would you call it? Toothsomeness? Being able to properly bite into them. I wouldn't complain if the Lusty Argonian Maid was another 10 times longer, honestly. I actually have books about Baron Zaya as well, at some point, that we can read at some point. As well as the First Hold Revolt. Benini, we can only read the Lusty Argonian Maid so many times. Yeah, that is the problem. We need more Lusty Argonian Maid. Or Sultry Argonian Bard. Or who knows what else. Bigger books, yes, girthier books. Books with weight to them. Satisfying books. Let me pour myself a little more tea. We'll maybe read one more story and then call it a stream. I do often wonder about my, the end of my streams, though. Trying to find somebody that's a good raid target for this sort of stream has been even harder than finding stream or raid targets for my previous music streams, right? Because music streams, that was game music. And, you know, it had some volume and people were okay. This, I don't want to raid somebody that's going to wake up people that are sleeping. So I'm going to at least turn an eye to who I can raid. Suppose we'll see who's on when I decide to call it a night. I suppose I could always raid an actual ASMR VTuber. Maybe the music streams are so much easier for me to mention trivia on, but maybe I just need to start bringing up unrelated trivia. Not too unrelated, I hope. Benini, I'm terrible at raiding, so if you're looking early, that's more than I do. I've become just more worried about raiding, perhaps. Hmm. Well, we'll see, we'll see. Oh, Starwind. Alright, have a good night. Night, night. Take care. I'm not done just yet, though. I'm gonna read one more. I was just looking ahead. But if you're heading to bed, night, night, sweet dreams. Yep, we have one more read. Not quite sure which one I want to read. Oh. Oh. Modern Heretics. Let us see about getting this. Starvin, I'll stay, misunderstood. No worries. So this is called Modern Heretics by Hadaras of Gottelsfond. The Daedra worship is not prohibited by law in Cyrodiil. Primarily, this is a result of the Imperial Charter granted the Mages Guild permitting the summoning of Daedra. Nonetheless, was too powerful, nearly one-shot my EP brain. Nonetheless, chapel and public opinion is so strongly against Daedra worship that those who practice Daedra rituals do so in secret. However, opinions about Daedra worship differ widely in other provinces. Even in Cyrodiil, traditional opinions have changed greatly over the years, and some communities survive which worship Daedra. Some more traditional Daedra worshippers are motivated by piety and personal conviction. Many modern Daedra worshippers are motivated by a lust for arcane power. In particular, questing heroes of all stripes seek after the fabled Daedric artifacts for their potent combat and magical effects. I personally have discovered one community worshipping the Daedra Lord Azura, Queen of Dawn and Dusk. A researcher curious about Daedra worship might research in several ways: through a study of the literature, through exploration and discovery of ancient Daedric shrines, through questioning local informants, and through questioning worshippers themselves. I used all these means to discover the Shrine of Azura. First, I read books. References like this one may provide a helpful general background concerning Daedric shrines. For example, my researches led me to understand that in Cyrodiil, Daedric shrines are generally represented by statues of Daedric lords, are generally situated in wilderness locations far from settlements, that each shrine generally has associations with a community of worshippers, often referred to as a coven. The shrines have associated with them a particular time, often a day of the week, when a Daedra Lord might be solicited. That Daedra Lord often will not deign to respond unless they regard a petitioner of sufficient prowess or strength of character. That they will only respond if given the proper offering, the secret of which offering often known only to the community of worshippers, and that, in return for the completion of some task or service, the Daedra Lords will often undertake to offer an artifact of power to a successful quester. Then I questioned locals with an intimate knowledge of the wilderness. Two classes of informants I found especially useful. Well-traveled hunters and adventurers who might come across shrines in their travels, and scholars of the Mages Guild. In the case of the Shrine of Azura, both sources were profitable. I discovered a Cheydinhal hunter who had chanced across a strange epic statue in his travels. The statue was of a woman with outstretched arms. In one hand she held a star, in the other hand she held a crescent moon. He had shunned the statue out of superstitious fear, but had marked the location in memory. Far north of Cheydinhal, northwest of Lake Arias, high in the Gerald Mountains. Then proceeding to the local Mages Guild with a description of the statue, I was able to confirm from its description the identity of the Daedra Lord worshipped. Having discovered the location of the shrine, I visited it and discovered there the community of worshippers because of the strength of opinion against Daedra worship. The worshippers were, at first, reluctant to admit their identity, but once I had won their trust, they were willing to divulge to me the secrets of the times when Azura would hear petitions from dusk to dawn, and that the offering required by Azura was glow dust, a substance obtained from the will-o-wisp. I am, of course, nothing more than a chapelman and scholar, so it did not lie within my strength to find the will-o-wisp to obtain glow dust, nor am I certain that Azura would have found me worthy to make such an offering, even had I proffered it. But I am assured that if I had been able to make such an offering, and if it had been accepted, Azura would have given me some sort of quest which, if completed, might have earned me the reward of Azura's Star, a Daedric artifact of legendary magical powers. I have since heard rumors of the existence in Cyrodiil of several other Daedric shrines, of the Daedric lords to which they are dedicated, and the Daedric artifacts that might be won by questing heroes. Here seen the Huntsman, for example, is linked in legend to the Saviour's Hide, a powerful enchanted armor. The hammer Volendrum is associated with Malakath, Lord of Monsters, and the eponymously named Mace of Molag Bal is also thought to be the object of Daedra worship. Other Daedra lords, their shrines and worshippers, remain to be discovered in Cyrodiil by earnest and persistent researchers. And that was Modern Heretics by Hadiras of Gottlesfont. And that's an Oblivion book, so that's one that you can find alongside works like On Oblivion, A Short Life of Uriel Septim the Seventh. I believe the Baron Zaya books are Oblivion. No, biography of Queen Baron Zaya is Morrowind, and then Oblivion as well. And the real Baron Zaya is also available in Morrowind Oblivion. There's a lot of books that, if they catch your eyes, it's definitely worth taking a look at if you can. But otherwise, perhaps we shall head out. I'll send you off on your way to some streamer or other. Not quite sure who, though. Let's see. Oh. Oh, Shichide does. Oh. Oh dear, oh dear. Who shall we go for? The issue is, of course, with Bushnyanja. For anyone else that doesn't know what eponymous means, it's like being named after something. I'm not smart enough to understand. That would make sense in context. Vivia, Tavi, are you planning on streaming on Thursday? Probably not. Friday at the earliest. I would probably be a little too tired. But let me. We're going to go raid Catgirl Fingies, who is another trans streamer. She is a flesh tuber, but let's see. Go. We'll start the raid. And for those on the YouTube side of things, here is a link if you'd like to follow us. Streamer that I recommend. Otherwise, thank you for coming and for listening, and I hope you had a wonderful time. I hope you're getting plenty of good sleep and sweet dreams, maybe even naughty dreams, if they fell asleep during the Argonian period. Bushnyanja, flesh tuber is definitely a word that'll haunt me for life. No worries, I am more than willing to reinforce that. Next time you come. It's what I refer to as myself as, either flesh tuber or meat tuber, both of which have their own connotations. Meat tuber sounds slightly more succubus-like, but they're both equally off-putting, I think. Sleep well, friends. Night-night, everyone. Organ tuber. If I put an organ in the background, do I suddenly become an organ tuber? Or do I have to actually be able to play the organ? Because I can only play the violin. Well, I can play some other things, but I can't play the organ. Anyway. Right now. There we go. Night-night, everyone. Take care. Sweet dreams.